Hey, listen to Commander Cookout Podcast, episode 41. I am Brando. I'm here with Ryan, and today we're going to run down Commander as a supported format as we look forward to the start of our brand new arc. Now hit our theme song! Hey Ryan, we're back from another whirlwind adventure. How you doing?
I'm good. What's going down?
Whole tons going down. We're going to be looking at the history of Commander as it's been supported by Wizards of the Coast.
Yep.
In a little bit of a, what do we call them? A setup episode for the arc that we will be talking about over the next few weeks.
I guess, yeah, an intro setup type episode. That's right, for the new arc.
Yes, we're going to go over a whole bunch of commanders, so I guess no list today, but we are going to talk about a lot of stuff that is going to be lots of fun.
Yeah, and nostalgic, trip back in time, which I always appreciate when we do magic trip backs in time, whether it be the show or, you know, going through old boxes or binders like we talk about at the store and finding old gems like last week's Purgatory.
Yeah, or before that's Mundungu.
Love Mundungu, that's for sure.
Or listening to a Snow-Covered Lands podcast. We haven't talked about those guys in a long time.
They've kind of a little bit fallen off the map. Get back on the map.
Yeah. Well, I mean, their shows are still good. They're still there.
They're still there.
So
certainly. And
they're worth listening to.
Yep, for sure. Before we get into all of it, though.
Social media coordinates?
That's what I was going to say.
Excellent. So, social media coordinates. We are CCO Podcast on Twitter or tappedout.net. That's where you can see any of the lists that we've talked about in the past. We'll talk about in the future. No list today. We are commandercookout@gmail.com. You can send us show suggestions, questions, comments, feedback, love mail, hate mail, no nudes.
Or you could send nudes.
Back to saying no nudes, Ryan. We are also Commander Cookout on iTunes, Google Play, Google Machine, Podomatic, where we are still working to take down the scrapbook and ninnies. We are also Commander Cookout on Commander Society, EDHREC.com, Patreon, and YouTube.
Very excellent.
Ooh, and I tried this last week. If you're listening on YouTube, remember to crush that like button. We're going for 2 likes on this episode. So make it happen for us.
We get likes and views on YouTube.
Nice. Thanks for listening or watching.
And subscribers.
Also neat.
Yeah, it is kind of like listening because it's just our logo, but it's technically watching. YouTube calls them views. That's what we're sticking with.
Excellent.
Okay.
So that's how you find us. We're everywhere.
Shoutouts? I'm going to say new arc means new giveaway, but it's technically the same giveaway that we talked about last week. You can like, subscribe, follow, favorite, share, retweet, whatever it is. That'll get you an entry. You can become a patron. Any level of patron gets you free entries based on your patronage. What did you call it last week?
Patronosity.
Patronosity, yes. Big time shout out to Jason Hurd and Chris the Fist Flynn. They're our highest contributors per show.
Thanks, guys.
So shout out to those guys. I think we've done shout outs to them before, but Chris the Fist actually won the last contest.
Yeah, well, he was one of 3 winners.
Yes, very much so. So pays to be a patron. And also, thank you to, he made a nickname for us, for him.
What?
Nate the Great. That's his patron name.
Nice.
Yeah, Nate the Great. It would be awesome if Nate the Great fought Chris the Fist Flynn.
Wow.
We could just duct tape their hands together and give them empty beer bottles. Anyways.
First gotta die, loses.
Yes. And
don't
also
actually do
loses
that, though,
the contest.
Yeah.
Yeah, winner wins the contest. Also, Joshua L. That was the last new patron I wanted to shout out. Josh L.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, get a better nickname.
By the way, contest, we're making a Sliver Queen Planeswalker.
Oh, yeah, forgot to say that.
So send in your Sliver Queen Planeswalker. It doesn't have to be a full proxy. It doesn't have to be original art. Just how much does it cost? What colors is it? What are her abilities? How many abilities are there? Why are you doing that?
Take any 5-color sliver and Sharpie what the actual Planeswalker abilities right onto it and send it to us.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Do it. Yeah.
We'll make a sweet, funny altar and send it back to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of background before we get into the new arc and the title and what it's about and stuff. We've been asked a few times, and we had Joel of FU Joel.
FU Joel.
A couple weeks ago to talk about Tier 1 Yidris list. I loved the list. It was great. I liked having a guest on. And
I hated talking about Doomsday.
Yeah, I hate Doomsday.
Yeah.
Love that it exists, but I hate the card.
Yep. Yeah.
So we've been asked a couple times, let's hear more about our friends, our play group, the people that we interact with. We are, I think, very social group. We do things outside of Magic. We hang out. We've been to a bunch of each other's weddings. A bunch of us have kids now that have come to not play Magic, but have come over to Magic, and we're familiar with each other's wives, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So we've decided that we want to call this and do a friendship arc.
Oh, isn't that a nice little rainbow?
I know, yeah. We talk shit about our friends all the time, but it's all out of good, clean, brotherly love.
Yep.
And I think we're even going to feature some of their decks.
Yes, I think that is the plan. So for each kind of member of our group that shows up, we're going to feature their most them deck, and you get to see all kinds of different stuff. We have theme builders, we have combo players, we have whatever they have laying at the house and they never buy new cards.
Yes.
We got one of those.
But oddly enough, he still wins sometimes.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
This is damn you, and we'll get to who that is later. Ooh, teaser.
I think it's the most fair to say whoever's got a list loaded into tapped out or deck stats or something, or who's ever willing to physically give us their deck. Yeah, that's who we're going to talk about.
That's who we'll talk about first.
Little bit of a background on us. I know that we did in our bonus episode talk about us outside of the cast before, but again, we're just going to cover it. Brando started playing Magic in Tempest? Stronghold. That's kind of like Tempest. Same block.
Yeah.
I started playing in Masks block, which is ironic because that's Brando's favorite block.
Yeah.
My favorite block is when I first got into Magic, like got into it heavy, was Invasion. So we've got like 40 years of Magic playing combined experience. Not together. We met what, in 2007?
I think so, yeah.
7? Sitting on the floor of a card shop in Saskatoon. We didn't know each other. He didn't really talk to me, and we were both digging through some common box. I was looking for like something to build a Saproling deck or fairies because it was during Lorwyn period.
Right.
And I don't know what you were looking for, if you remember.
Oh, probably garbage from Ravnica. I was always looking for Ravnica junk.
Probably.
Yeah.
You're still always looking for Ravnica junk.
Yes, I am.
Or Masks junk.
Yeah, Jesus.
So that's how we met. I actually ended up getting invited to Brando's house from my buddy Geoff, who I've got his name highlighted a lot on the notes today because he's a pretty stout brewer himself. It was his buddy Jesse, F-U Jesse.
F-U all day.
Yeah, it was Jesse's buddy Brando, or Jesse's buddy Smitty, who invited Jesse, who invited Geoff, who invited me, and then eventually I invited F.U. Joel, and like it was like this huge thing that just turned into a few dudes playing Magic. We had two different Bens, a Dan, who was a very competitive player.
He's still very good.
Yeah, Joel became a very competitive player, so did Ben, so did Joe. We don't talk about Joe very much.
F.U. Joe.
F.U. Joe, you better invite us to your wedding or else.
Yeah.
We're crashing it.
Yeah, because we're going to be there. Bud. It's going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we've got all these people, all these characters that you don't have a face to, but we do. We're going to help give you a face so you understand where we're coming from in some of our likes, loves, dislikes in Magic, both on the table, socially, why we drink as much as we do, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what this arc is going to be about. It's lots of fun, lots of friendship, backslapping, that kind of stuff. But first, we've got to talk about how Commander made our group the way that it did.
This is also kind of a precursor to anybody who wants their decks featured on the show. Maybe this will encourage you to send some deck lists in.
Ooh, yes. Very much so.
Yeah.
Before we started playing Commander, we dabbled a little bit, but by and large, we were a casual kitchen table group. When you talk about our kitchen table group, a lot of us played competitively. Good. I used to be one of them.
Yeah, me too.
Then we stopped and, got jobs or started playing Commander and took some of our casual decks apart and just lent out Commander decks. And it was something that we just played maybe once a night or once every couple weeks when we met on Thursday nights. It became more and more popular. I built one, and then I built another one. I shared one with Jesse. We played. Stayed over at his house way too late one night and ended up winning the game. He was pissed off. Then Jesse built one. Smitty built one. Brando built one. And then
Sign of the Ur-Dragon. What a bad idea
look
that
at
was.
you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's when I started.
I built Baron Master Wizard and it played Tolarian Academy and Emrakul.
Yeah, who's the piece of shit now?
Yeesh.
My second deck was Sliver Overlord. It's probably still me.
I built Mono White Iona.
Yeah.
See, this is where we're coming from, right?
Yeah.
Somebody had a Gaddock Teague deck for a while, too.
Yep. And now look at us. We're playing Norin the Wary and Kami of the Crescent Moon and stuff.
Yeah, Mistform Ultimus. Yeah, that's right. That's kind of how it started. That was back like we played Magic together for a couple of years at that point.
Yeah,
2007,
yeah.
8, 9, 10. Like that's a lot of time to be playing together. We all started real jobs. Smitty had a kid. I got married. Nah, that was after. See, it's all jumbled together by now. But in 2011, something happened.
Yes, big thing.
November specifically, Wizards came out with Commander. And with Commander came a whole announcement of we are going to cater to this format. It's going to be a thing. Because they had released Arch Enemy and Plane Chase, and we full-heartedly adopted Plane Chase.
Well,
right?
Plane Chase is amazing.
Yeah. When they said we're going to do Commander, it's going to be part of our rolling summer or winter release or whatever. At the time, they were rotating Arch Enemy, Plane Chase, Commander, Plane Chase again. And then they said, scrap it. We're not doing Arch Enemy or Plane Chase anymore. It's just going to be Commander.
Yeah.
And that's when it showed up. That's when we said, okay, this is a thing. We all bought in. We started getting the Commander cards. It started to drive the price up on things. And that's when, everybody starts building their second deck, their third deck, their fourth deck. So what we're going to do is highlight from C11 to, let's say, 17.
Yeah, 17, we got a little bit of
the greatest hits.
Yeah.
Yeah? I want to start, of course, C11. That's the start. There was 15 new legendary creatures here, and that was the thing, right? Wedge colors.
Yes.
If you flip the back of a Magic card over, the 3 colors that touch each other are the tricolors, and the 2 colors that touch each other and the one across from it, that makes a wedge shape. So if you look at the blue, red, green wedge, our boy, Animar. First guy on the list. He was episode 11. We did a list on him.
He was our combo list.
Very much so. I would love to do him again. Brando's giving me the look.
No, it's not the look. It's just you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I love him. 1/1. We're not going to go into all of them, but because he's the first, I love the art, love the ability. Pro black, pro white. He's a competitive guy. Tier 1, tier 1.5.
Very high up on the list.
Moving down, I mean, there was also Bassandra Battle Seraph. She was new, but not really worth note other than the beautiful art by Therese Nielsen.
That's very nice, but she was kind of...
Yeah, you know what she did? In 2011, she cemented the Boros Legion. I know Boros already existed, and it was already like this righteous aggro weenie army strategy, but she was like, yep, you're still going to do it. Then the next Boros commander, yep, you're still going to do that same strategy. Then the next one, same thing.
One thing that I think this really highlights too, I'll read her real fast. She's a 4/4 flyer for 3 red, white. Players can't cast spells during combat, and red, target creature attacks this turn if able. Now, if you compare that to something like Animar, you see that Boros is kind of the color in the Commander products that I would argue kind of get shafted the most.
Very much so.
Typically, they are the worst. And when you even look at them outside of Commander, the worst.
If you look at them outside of the Commander products, worst, because who's using Legends for anything other than Commander these days? And all the Boros ones do the same thing. They just want you to attack with your Weenie Legion. Yeah. And that's not that powerful, considering they don't let you draw cards as well as blue, black, or green.
And when you're playing another kind of Legion color like green-white or even red-green, you're going to have a Legion over there too, and they're probably all going to be bigger than
zombies, you. The longest and most well-supported tribe in all of Magic.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it's mono-black zombies, you're going to be drawing more cards. Speaking of green, black, blue,
yeah.
Damia, Sage of Stone, was Commander 2011.
Yeah, we did her. She was our spiciest episode, our Relentless Rats deck.
Very much so.
In the Arc of the Unexpected.
Yeah, and she's got Death Touch for a 4/4, and she lets you draw cards up to 7 each turn. Very good. There was also, you just scrolled past, Edric, Spymaster of Trust, for a long time was a very competitive commander.
Not so much anymore.
Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one or more of your opponents, its controller may draw a card. So anytime anybody deals damage to anybody except yourself, that person draws a card.
It also sort of normalizes cards that mention having more than one opponent. Because typically Magic wasn't really multiplayer until Plane Chase and Arch Enemy started coming out.
You used to see cards that say any opponent, and you're like, oh yeah, that's the greatest. Now if it doesn't say any opponent, if it says an opponent, you're like, oh, this is not even playable.
And this is stupid. Like Stuffy Doll is one guy.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if Stuffy Doll was reprinted for 6, and anytime it took damage, it dealt damage to target opponent, as opposed to when it comes in, it picks one?
Yeah.
Get on that, Wizards.
Yeah, very much so.
C18.
So what else of note do we have? We've got Gave, Guru of Sports. You and Geoff both built that deck.
Yeah, we both built one, and then we rebuilt mine into our Project Atraxa list.
Very much.
A little bit ago with Fungatraxa. You can look her up as well.
Yep. Fungatraxa, I think, is the name of the list on our Tapped Out page.
Yes.
tappedout.net/CCO podcast/Fungatraxa. Kalia of the Vast.
Yeah, she's the...
Give this bitch a read because everybody hates her.
Yeah, she's the big beater of the one. She's the only reason anybody bought...
She's the Atraxa of 2011.
Yes, she is. She really is. So Kalia the Vast is a 2/2 for 4, and it's 1 white, black, red, flying. Whenever Kalia the Vast attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon creature card from your hand into play, tapped and attacking that opponent. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you ramp her out turn 3, and then you proceed to drop, 8, 9, 10 drops for the rest of the game.
Smitty and Geoff both play her, or have built her in the past.
And Big Ben.
There we go.
Very much so. Carador, Ghost Chieftain, another very notable. Little Ben plays him.
Yeah,
he lets you get things back from your graveyard.
Little Ben plays him, so does JJ. Oh, Nin the Pain Artist, I built her.
Nin the Pain Artist. Give her a read, because she's kind of competitive, isn't she?
I'm not sure.
She's a 1v1 card, I think.
I really like her. Nin the Pain Artist is a 1/1 for blue-red. X, blue, red, tapped. Nin the Pain Artist deals X damage to target creature. That creature's controller draws X cards. Another good include with Stuffy Doll.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
You know what? Last week we mentioned green, red, blue, or Teamer is what it's called now. You had mentioned something about Teamer. Is Riku your new build? Are you building Riku?
Nope.
Who is it?
You know who it is. We talked about him. Episode 4. The deck was terrible. It was werewolves. It's Surak Dragonclaw.
Oh, Surak.
I'm going to turn Surak into a bunch of trampling, hasty clones.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Very excellent.
It's going to be awful. We're doing it. Who else came out in 2011?
You know what? Here's 2 more that came out in 2011 that get next to 0 love, and I wish this wasn't the case, but Ruhan of the Fomori is a 7/7 for Jeskai and 1, so that's blue, white, red, and 1. He attacks each turn and attacks at random.
That's probably why he doesn't get a lot of love.
I know, but I think that he should.
Yeah, he's a 7/7.
He's a classic. And then Skullbriar, another classic.
No, I've played him in lots of decks, but never as a commander.
I think he is the infect commander, I think. So let's give him a read. He is a zombie elemental for black, green, 1/1. Haste.
Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on him. Counters remain on Skullbriar as it moves into any zone other than your hand or your library.
So you give him infect, you proliferate him, and then you just keep beating ass with him every time you play him.
And prior to when he came out, and I think the reason maybe he kind of didn't get as much traction is back when he came out, tuck was still a thing and bounce was still a thing. So you could tuck or bounce a commander and it wouldn't go back to the command zone and he'd lose all his counters and you'd have to find him again.
And infect was not a thing.
Yeah, so he was
Very much so.
He was just not good.
You know what was a thing? His art. Sick.
Yes, that
Very
is excellent.
awesome.
It's like a tree that's going to steal your wallet.
Yeah. Teriel, Reckoner of Souls as well. Another Mardu, another clan or wedge color at the time that had 0 love. Because Teriel was terrible.
And she's still terrible. She's a 4/7 for 7 that puts a random dude from your graveyard into play.
Yeah.
The random.
Awesome art again.
Excellent.
But they had red in there, so they're like, oh, let's make it random.
Yeah. And then I think the last one that I think just kind of vanished, I know that Jeff played him for a long time, the Mimeoplasm. Remember the Mimeoplasm?
Yeah. He gets power equal to the power and toughness equal to something in your graveyard, and abilities of another thing in your graveyard, right?
Yeah. So he's very cool. He's kind of a cloney thing.
He has a T-Rex for an arm.
Let's say that again. Say it again.
Let me be clear. He doesn't have a T-Rex arm. He has a T-Rex for an arm.
And that is awesome.
Yes.
Nothing is cooler than that.
Yep.
Nothing.
So, of course, there was plenty of other commanders in there. Maybe the last one of note, Zedru the Great-Hearted, lets you donate something to somebody else, and then you actually get to draw cards and gain life equal to the amount of permanence that you've donated away. Cool list. Dan used to have one.
Yes, he did. It was a cool kind of group hug, but not deck.
Yeah, that deck can really sneak up behind you and take your pants off and plow you from behind.
Yes. And he's a goat. This is a Minotaur, but it looks like a goat.
With boobs.
Yeah.
Send nudes of Zedru.
Gross. So that's 2011. Lots of note, lots to go. Now, moving along, we missed 2012 kind of, as they sort of combined Plane Chase into Commander and did like a joint thing. And
yeah.
it was kind of neat, but
They gave us 3 specific gifts that are a very, very much of note. They gave us Maelstrom Wanderer, which has Cascade, and is an 8-drop
dang,
in Teamer colors,
very good.
and gives all your creatures haste.
Nothing to shake a stick at.
This guy, for a long time, was a very competitive commander.
Yes.
He's since fallen out of favor slightly, but only slightly, and only because he costs 8.
Yes.
And since 2012, there's been a lot more development in Commander deck building stratagem and ramp spells that help him really stay kind of at the forefront.
Yes.
Very good. It also gave us Thromok, which had Devour X.
Yep.
He gets +X for X number of Devour E's.
Yes.
Very easy to make him like an 100/100.
Yeah, super easy. Generally, when you play Thromok, he is a 1 pump chump immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Very immediately.
it's nuts.
And then the other one of note, Vela, the Nightclad. We covered her in our Dimir Ground and Pound list episode, I think 38, 9? I don't remember.
Yeah, but she's also another one that's of note. But we're going to kind of gloss over that one because it wasn't really a Commander product. They hadn't quite clued into the fact that people wanted to play Commander.
Or they just started to and were like, yeah, here, let's throw these Commander players a bone just to sell more shit.
Yes. Then we move on to 2013, and what you have is what I think, this is just me personally, is the Forgotten Years, because I think this set is terrible.
You think?
I think it's awful.
I think there's definitely some notable includes.
Let's see who's good. Let's
I think hold on before we
out.
even look. I think that 13 gave us what ended up being Wizards overstepping their boundary. Commander 13 was like, "Hey, this is what you want, right?" And then everybody was like, "Holy shit. No, this is not." They gave us specifically Derevi, Jaleva, Nekuzar, Aloro, and Prosh. 3 of those 5 are arguably, all of those could be competitive commanders. 3 of them for sure in 4-player are tier 1, 1.5, right? Looking back to Arc of Escalation of a couple weeks ago, Prosh was a tier 1 commander. Jaleva was a tier 1 Storm commander. Derevi's a 3-drop that you can just put onto the battlefield from the command zone. Like, is that what we wanted?
No.
And then Nekuzar, nobody likes to play against Nekuzar. Wheel.deck. Every time you draw a card, you take a damage.
And we do that because Joe plays him.
Joe plays him, for sure.
And he's got a hell of a Nekuzar list.
Aloro was the first guy ever to say, if it's in the command zone, you gain life. Alex played him. I played him with Lab Maniac. That's a tier 1 kind of shell.
And it was the first time that there was something that was so non-interactive, it actually made me angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's read Aloro, because he actually does a whole bunch of different stuff.
Aloro, Ageless Ascetic, is a 4/5 for 6, including white, blue, black. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 2 life. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card, and each opponent loses 1 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Aloro, Ageless Ascetic, is in your command zone, gain 2 life.
He's ageless.
Yeah. And no matter what's that, you're gaining 2 life every turn, all the time, forever.
Yeah.
F. And then he also has a secondary ability where if he's in play, he also accelerates you and damages your opponents. What a piece of shit. But you look past those guys, and you have either ones that are just nobody really cares about, like Marath.
Marath of the Wild's good. The other thing that I think Wizards kind of, another way that they overstepped beyond power level for the tier 1 or tier 1.5 guys we talked about, they also overstepped in giving us something that was too powerful for its converted mana cost. So even though the thing might not have done something that was better than anything else in the game of Commander and Magic, they gave us something that was like, this is how much better we can make cards for 3 mana. We just assume that nobody's going to play shock lands and dual lands and fetch lands and lands and lands and lands and spend $5,000 on a Magic deck. So here's your 3-drop that goes infinite with anything, but you got to pay 3 different colors of mana to play it.
Yeah, because that's super hard to do.
Right?
So
Marath of the Wild's got a novel of text, but basically enters the battlefield with a number of +1s on it equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. That was unique to 2013 as well.
Yep.
So it enters the first time with 3 counters on it because it costs white, green, red. The next time, 5. The next time, 7. And essentially you pay X, remove X counters, and choose one. Put a +1 counter on target creature. Marath deals X damage to creature or player, or create X green elemental creature tokens. And that last one, where you remove X and create X creatures, you can then sacrifice them to whatever, Ashnod's altar, and pay X, remove X counters to put that many more counters back on him. Go infinite.
Yep.
Right? So he ended up being very broken.
Yeah, and nobody really plays him. He's broken as hell, but nobody plays him because why would you? Who else was in this set? Nekusar we talked about, Alora we talked about, Prosh is also very good. Then you got Rune of the Hidden Realm.
There's another kind of do-nothing.
Yeah, just kind of a do-nothing guy. Rubina, Soul Singer.
She was a reprint from days gone by. Shroom fell out of favor, right? Oh, Shattergang Brothers. I'm surprised that you never built that deck.
I wanted to, but he's just 3/3 for 1 and what is that? It's Jund. There
1 and Jund.
1 and Jund. And then it's 2 in black, sack a dude, each other player sacks a dude. 2 in red, sack an artifact, each other player sacks an artifact. 2 in green, sack an enchantment, each other player. I don't want to sack my artifacts and my enchantments.
He's very grindy. He's very stacksy.
He's a control general.
Yeah.
He's not a play a bunch of goblins and beat wholesale ass with them. He's a fucking stacks card. It's such a tease. He's the goblin I always wanted, and I can't goddamn play him.
That's right.
F you wizards. Coming up next in kind of the dudes that you kind of know, Sidri, Galvanic Genius.
Oh, yeah, she was a 2013 specific. That's right.
Yep. And
Nobody in our group played her.
no, she's just kind of there.
Who else was new? I think that was the last new one.
That's the last new one.
Thraxamundar was in there, but he was in Alara Reborn.
He was in Alara card.
Joe has a Thrax deck, right?
Jesse.
Jesse?
Yep. And we know somebody that played Mail of the Anima as well. She was also in here, but she was a reprint from Alara as well.
Oh, yeah. Lots of Alara reprints. Yeah, Alara at that time was 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah, and it had the whole like multicolored set, right?
Oh yeah,
There was
lots of
no
opportunity to reprint some good commanders.
Yeah, those were cool. I like those. They also had the all foil packs in Alara. They did lots of neat
forgot
stuff.
about those. I wish I would have bought more of those for openflippy.drinky
Oh yeah, we'd be just hammered
all the time.
Yeah, it'd be just 15 shots right there. Okay, so that's 2013. So you have the decks that nobody bought, like the Infinite guy that nobody played from the Naya colors, 2 guys like Nekusar. Going on to the next year, we got the first kind of regular year where they started doing something unique with each deck that they never did again, which is both a blessing and a curse, because a lot of them are kind of neat. But
of course, we're talking about the planeswalkers that you could use as commanders.
Very cool.
A blessing in that they didn't just put that line of text on every planeswalker that they ever printed since 2014, because that would have been terrible.
Good God.
But a curse because they were very unique and it offered us another way to play and a fun way to play that I'm looking at Duretti right now, and Evan in our own play group has a Duretti deck. Yep. And 2014 Commander product, along with Felden of the Third Path in the same deck, because they only did monocolor decks that year, started doing something that Red never really had a hand in mass. And that was starting to play around with artifacts in the graveyard. And Red became kind of like Blue used to be. And now artifacts in and out of the graveyard, recurring, comboing, that's a Red thing now.
Neat.
Yeah, and it started with the Duretti deck. Evan's got a Duretti deck. I play Felden in my Bryon Stoutarm deck.
Yep.
That flings artifacts, then gets them back from the graveyard and flings them again. Brian Stoutarm was in Commander 2011.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was. And the other notable one, I think, Freyalise from last week.
Yeah, we talked about her. She was a commander. She's the one that makes the Landmore Elf tokens and then draws you a bunch of cards and stuff.
Very much so.
Another cool card that came out of this, we're just kind of looking as I scroll down, Ghoulcaller Gissa is a really good card.
I very much like her, and I would like to play her in a zombie deck, but I just can't bring myself to make another zombie deck. I want to do something different.
Yeah.
Because I already got a Balthor the Defiled deck.
But she's very cool and has some pretty sweet art on her as well. I just wanted to note her real quick.
Very much so. I wanted to talk about, of course, there's Nahiri the Lithomancer, Obnixilis of the Black Oath. Those are the white and black Planeswalker commanders, but the one...
JJ plays Obnix, just as a
Oh, yeah,
aside.
he does.
Yep, so
That's
we have
right.
an Obnix in the deck,
Yep.
in the group.
Teferi Temporal Archmage is the blue one, and he's actually a Tier 1 guy as well from Arc of Escalation. We did talk about him a little bit in the Sliver Queen episode.
And underneath her is the green one. We have Titania, Protector of Argoth. And both of these guys, Titania, Protector of Argoth is a creature, not a Planeswalker, but she is a character that I think from way earlier in the history of Magic, before Planeswalkers were cards, and here we have one of them as a Planeswalker card. And I think that...
As a creature card.
Yeah, and if they kept printing these planeswalkers in Commander that you can play as Commander. They could just be shitty versions of them. But you could go back and do some of those ones that they've never done, like Windgrace.
Very much so.
Or they could reprint ones that they did and forgot about, like all the guys that they left on Amonkhet, and all the guys that they left back in Ravnica, and all the guys that they left in New Kamigawa, whatever the hell it was called. And they could kind of keep us updated on what they're doing. Like, what's Narset doing now? What's that sea lady
fill
doing?
in a lot of the blanks. And you know what? At the top of the show, we didn't mention what this product helped do for players that are very long tenure like us. For the first time ever in 2014, we saw Titania. I don't know about anybody else, but I read the Brothers War book like when I was in high school, and I read about Argoth. That's one of the places that the Brothers' War between Urza Planeswalker and Mishra took place, and Titania was there. And after all these years, like 20 years later, I got a Titania card.
Very cool.
That is important. All these years later, I got a Teferi Planeswalker card.
Yeah, like we've had Teferi before, but never as a Planeswalker, which is what he was. He used time manipulation to suspended animation people out of the end of the world and saved a whole bunch of people and stuff. And here he is.
So important stuff happened in 2014 there for sure, along with all the other Commander years.
Yes. So moving on from them, we move into the next year, which is 2015.
2015 was the next level of shit that you can't interact with, as Brando says.
Oh.
And this gave players experience counters.
These are the worst of the worst.
Yeah, you don't like these ones very much.
This is the worst of the worst.
We've got one in front of us here. Daxos the Returned. Brando's going to give him a read.
Daxos the Returned is a 2/2 for 1 white black. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain an experience counter. Then you pay 1 black white. Put a white and black spirit enchantment creature token onto the battlefield. It has this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of experience counters you have. That doesn't sound so bad.
That one is probably the weakest one.
That's probably the fairest of them all. So let's just go to the next card on the list, which is called Azuri Claw of Progress. He's a 3/3 for 2 green-blue. Whenever a creature power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you get an experience counter.
So playing creatures with power 2 or less, actually very easy.
Because you're playing elves, probably.
Or infect.
Yeah. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put X +1/+1 counters on another target creature, where X is the number of experience counters you have. Also pretty good with infect, isn't it?
Yes.
And you do that every turn.
Also pretty good when you consider that 4 of the experience counter commanders go in the Atraxa deck.
Yeah.
And you can Atraxa proliferate your experience counters while playing infect or enchantment control or whatever other experience counter shenanigans you want to play, like Marin of Clan Neltoth. She, for a long time, was the second most popular commander on EDHREC.com behind Aloro. We forgot to mention that.
Yes, we did.
Aloro, very important commander.
Earlier on, we talked about this. Let's talk about how green and white, or red-white, gets the shaft. Let's talk about Calamine, Disciple of Iroas.
Iroas.
Whatever. I just wanted to say ass, because that's what she is. She's a 3/3 double strike vigilance for 4. That's good.
That's good.
But let's compare her with the other stuff. Let's keep going here. Whenever you cast a creature spell with converted mana cost 5 or greater,
because that's what you're going to do in Boros colors.
In a deck that encourages you to play things that cost 2 or less, Calamine, Disciple of Eros, gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have. So she turns into a big dumb idiot that dies to everything.
There are so many better Voltron commanders out there.
Yeah. And we've talked about a whole bunch of them. One of them was Satic, Lord of Secrets.
Let's talk about the Voltron commander right below her, a la Karloff of the Ghost Council.
Awesome.
I love this guy. I have this guy in my personal deck box. So he's black-white for a legendary creature, Spirit Advisor. 2/2. Whenever you gain life, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Karlov of the Ghost Council. 2. And it's whenever you gain life. So every instance of life gain puts 2 +1s on him.
Jesus.
Okay. So black, white, remove 6 +1/+1 counters from Karlov. Exile target creature. Don't care. I do care. I've used that ability exactly twice.
It can be handy.
I exiled a blocker and then swung in for the kill.
Yep.
With Karlov.
There you
and
go.
hatred. Yeah, he's very good.
Well, we got a couple of, I thought, tease cards in this set, too. That we had some new snakes finally reprinted, but they were both shitty commanders, and they had blue in them, so I can't play them in Sashiro.
Dang. Snakes.
Including Casito Orochi Archmage is a 2/2 for 3, makes your snakes get bigger and can't be blocked.
She even had the word Orochi in there.
Yeah.
Making you think she's from Kamigawa. And she's a snake with 4 arms. She's definitely from Kamigawa.
She's a snake from Kamigawa that you can't play in the Kamigawa snake deck.
Dang, I'm so polarized about Commander 2015.
It was either very good or very bad. Yeah. Who else did we... Oh, wait. No, he's not good. There he is. Marin of Clan Nel Toth. That's another one that Alex played.
Yep.
And we all hated.
Yes.
Because...
we all targeted Alex when he played it because she's actually very powerful because she's so grindy.
And an amazing art on her, too.
Yeah, she's good.
I like that a lot. So she's a 3/4 for 4, one of which is green, one of which is black. Whenever another creature you control dies, you get an experience counter. At the beginning of your end step, choose target creature card in your graveyard. If that card's converted mana cost is less than your experience counters, it goes into play. If it's more than your experience counters, it goes into your hand. So it always does something, even if you have no experience counters. And if you have lots of experience counters...
it gets back a Shriekmaw every turn.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
That's what it does.
Yeah. And you can evoke the Shriekmaw to put it into your graveyard, kill a thing, get it back, and then all of a sudden you're going to eventually end up with a Shriekmaw that you just get to keep. Yep. Just Shriekmaw will turn into a recurring removal engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn son of a bitch.
Under her, we have the reason that I hate this set. This mechanic, the experience counter mechanic.
Which we did a deck tech on.
Yes, we did. This was the I'm a piece of shit net decker deck. Mizzix of the Ismagus. Makes all your X spells basically cost free.
So he is a Goblin Wizard 2/2 for red, blue, 2. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost greater than the number of experience counters you have, you get an experience counter. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each experience counter you have.
So if that thing costs X, it's always going up. And there's lots of good X spells in red and blue,
Very much so.
And then we get into free take 2 turns for 2.
For 2. This guy was, I think, from what I've heard and read and seen and blah, 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 this guy was Wizards balancing out the abortion of a card that is Animar Soul of Elements. Because Animar and Mizzix do the same thing. Mizzix for spells, Animar for creatures. They are essentially, the deck does the same thing. It's powering out its commander on turn 2. It's comboing you to death on turn 3 or 4.
And he is the only house banned commander.
I'd still play him. I'm just not interested because I already play Animar.
Yeah, he's been bad. I think we could probably bring him in now with the power level of our decks. And it'd be okay. But I just don't want to open that can of worms. He's banned. Banned.
Yeah. So I guess very polarized. I mean, I either loved 15 or hated 15.
I mostly hated 15, mostly just because of the non-interactiveness of the experience counters. Especially since with Atraxa and Proliferate, which was around these times, you can tick up your own experience counters, but there's nothing that I can do to get rid of
Atraxa
them.
wasn't, but Proliferate was.
Yeah, you can proliferate your own stuff. You can Contagion Engine your own experience counters, but there is nothing I can do to make you have less of them. You just, if you're playing Clan Noth, Marin, you just get a free dude every turn. And there's nothing I can do about it apart from kill Marin.
And kill the dude. But then you're playing removal deck, and how do you win?
Yeah. Then I'm just wasting all of my efforts on killing a thing that you can just play every goddamn turn.
I suppose. I mean, we don't talk about it much, but that goes into, I mean, how we play Commander and the political aspects of the game. And we knew when Alex played Marin of Clan Nel Toth that the deck was good, and we needed to get rid of Marin when she hit the table so he couldn't get experience counters. And
he always got so mad.
Well, of course. I mean, it's his thing, right? That's what his deck wanted to do, and we didn't let him play that game.
No, we really didn't. We would go after him pretty hard.
Very much so.
Merciless. So moving from that, we have 2016. 2016 gave all of the EDH community a gift.
He gave me the look.
Yeah. You know what
this
the gift
time
is.
He did.
What's the gift?
Partner commanders.
Yeah, what's the real gift, Ryan? Say her name. Just say it. Just say it.
Atraxa.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of somebody else that was, I should have said Saskia, but she's air quotes a gift too. She's one of the best 1v1 aggro commanders out there.
Yes.
2016 sure did a lot for Commander. It's I think it's when, if 2011 is when Commander showed up for all the people who are already playing it or dabbling in it, 2016 is when everybody who wasn't playing Commander showed up to play Commander.
It also was kind of Wizards showing that they were listening in that they gave you 4-color Commanders, which didn't exist to that point.
Very much so.
And a lot of people wanted, I don't know why a lot of people wanted them, just play 5 colors.
They wanted 4. It's like it's like rounding out the
color pie, I guess?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. 2016 is when you started to see a lot of Commander-specific staples in foil jump up so hugely in cost, like English versions of them. 2016 is when you saw Commander cards on the reserve list buyouts and Commander-specific buyout cards jump hugely in price. And, of course, that's when EDH Rec started to really come into its own, and that's, 2015 kind of. That's why Marin and Allura were so popular on EDH Rec for so long. And then Atraxa came out and just blew them out of the water. Like, before she was even out, she was already ahead of Allura and Marin.
Yeah, she was already the most popular commander, and she hadn't even been printed yet.
Yeah.
There are no physical copies of her in existence yet, and she was already the number 1 commander.
So
Atraxa.
That's when I think everybody came to play Commander, right?
Yes. So you get Atraxa. We got who are our other 4-color dudes? And then we'll get into the partner mechanic, which also came out then.
Brea, Ethereum Sculptor.
Evan plays Brea.
Yep.
Geoff plays Brea.
And Ben built her for a while, like a competitive eggs list. Let's give her a read because I actually like her. She's kind of reminiscent of Marath of the Wild, the Naya guy from 2013.
13, yep. So she's the not green one. I think that's the easiest way to say that.
Yeah.
White, blue, black, red. 4/4. 4/4. When Brea Ethereum Shaper enters the battlefield, create 2 blue Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. 2. Sacrifice 2 artifacts. Choose 1. Brea bolts a dude, or a player, I guess. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn, or gain 5 life.
So essentially you just make infinite artifacts or infinite mana.
Or both.
And you just bolt people to death
It's
on
like
turn
playing,
3 or 4.
It's like playing Omnath, but way faster. Angry Omnath. Who else did we get in here? We got a few reprints of note. Duretti, Edric, Gave. All interesting reprints from before.
Hannah Ship's Navigator, originally from Invasion and never reprinted never reprinted until after this as a Judge promo, I think. So that's an actual important and good one because people like Hannah Ship's Navigator. She's a 1/2 for blue, white 1, originally from Invasion, Human Artificer. Blue, white 1, tap, return target artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand.
Very good.
Lots of recursion engines returning artifacts to your hand every single turn.
Who else do we have for 4-color bros in here? There's a lot of legendary guys in here. We have Kynalos and Tiro of Miletus. That's the not black one.
Kienos?
Whatever. Either way, she's a he, they.
Them.
They are a 2/8. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Each player may put a land card from his or her hand onto the battlefield. Then each opponent who didn't draws a card. I don't like this card at all.
I don't either. I play it in the 99 of 62 Land of Togatog. It's another land drop. It's a group hug card. It's not our thing.
Yeah,
not mine and yours things, but notable because it is an actual non-Feldegriff group hug card in the appropriate colors plus red.
Very cool.
Important card.
It's neat. It's good that they printed it.
Yep. And the last one is
Saskia the Unwielding. That's the not blue one, which I thought, I'm really kind of pumped for this one. Then it let me down.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Let's give her a read.
Vig Haste 3/4 for not everything but blue. Saskia the Unwielding enters the battlefield. Choose a player. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to the chosen player. And the reason I don't like this is it's just such an FU. And it's just like a feel-bad card in a feel-bad way. And I don't like that.
I agree. But you know what? When all the Magic players who weren't playing Commander came storming in, or the people who said, I want to play Commander this way, they latched onto Saskia. Yep. Because it's like, this is why she's good in 1v1, because you attack the same player you chose and it deals double damage.
Yeah.
All of your creatures gain double strike. That's pretty good.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I just don't like it. It's good. It's super strong. Build decks around it. Play it if you want. I don't like it. I'll terminate that thing all day. You become the target at that point. And we all know what Brando removal looks like.
Yes.
And when we get into some of the decks from later on in this arc, you're going to see a lot more Brando removal. God damn it. And I think that's all for our 4-color commanders. Lots of really great reprints in there, too. I really like that.
Is it all of them, or is there one more?
No, one.
Yidris. Of course, Yidris from 2 weeks ago. How did we forget him?
I don't know. And that's the not white one, which I was also excited about.
Yeah, and you know what? I think they all lived up to their hype as being the first 4 colors, right?
They really did.
They did. Yidris is excellent. Whenever you hit a player with Yidris, your spells gain Cascade until end of turn. 5/4 Trampler for everything but white.
Yes.
Excellent. Saskia gives all your creatures double strike. Atraxa gives all your shit proliferate. Brea is the combo guy's wet dream. So is Yidris. We covered him 2 weeks ago.
Yes, we comboed.
They're all good. And we haven't even touched on the partner commanders yet.
And the partners were a really cool thing that I had talked about, I remember. Like, we should just be able to play... Because I wanted to play Krenko as my commander with, like, a blue guy as backup so that I could play Intruder Alarm in my Krenko deck. And everybody was like, no, that's terrible. That's super broken. Which it totally is.
Yeah.
But they did print that kind of an idea where you can just pick and mix and match 2 commanders to get up to 4 colors of...
Yeah, up to 4 colors, or 2 colors, or 3 colors. Vile Smasher the Fierce actually got banned in 1v1 when they switched to 20 life totals.
Yep.
Let's give him a read because he's actually pretty good in competitive commander.
Vile Smasher is a 2/3 for 3. Whenever you cast your first spell of each turn, Vile Smasher the Fierce deals damage equal to that spell's converted mana cost to an opponent chosen at random. And when you only have one, you know where that's going.
Yeah, sorry, I meant 1v1, not competitive.
Well, 1v1. Maybe in competitive.
Well, remember, he got banned in the 20 life 1v1 format, right?
Yeah.
So Vile Smasher was good. Thrasios and Timna is actually a tier 1 combination that makes it so it's green, blue, white, black.
So it's Atraxa colors.
It's Atraxa colors, but you do get a scry on a stick and a extra card draw on another stick, and they cost a different amount of mana, so you can sacrifice them for different kinds of things. Like I think we talked about it in the Yidris episode, just briefly. Sack them to Birthing Pod. You can find a 3-drop and a 4-drop, which will combo for you.
Yes, lots of 3 and 4 combo enabling creature things.
Yep. So they're really good.
There's just lots to be seen and done in.
You know what? Ravos and Timna. We covered them on the no internet list on the show.
Yeah,
that's right.
That list still isn't on the internet.
Absolutely,
so
it's not.
You can only listen to that. We physically had the deck in front of us, and we're like passing cards back and forth.
Yeah, for sure.
Talking about it. Not many. I don't think we have any people that actually play. Tag teams, do we?
Thrasios and Timna. Little Ben plays that. That's like his competitive deck.
Right, yes.
And
yes, he does.
Of course, a couple of players in the group have built Atraxa. F you guys. Alex played Saskia for a while, or still has. Alex moved away. That's unfortunate for us, but probably good for him because he got a job.
Yeah, he's a plumber, and then he became a car salesman when there was no plumbing jobs here in Saskatoon, and now he sells cars in Edmonton.
More people to sell cars to.
Yep. So good luck to you, Alex, and F you if you're listening, which I know you are.
Certainly, yep. That brings us up to 17, I guess, right?
So now we're into this. Well, it's not this year anymore.
Not this year anymore, no.
Yeah, we're back to 2017, which was tribal commanders, which everybody thought we were going to do. What did they figure they were going to do? Soldiers, goblins, merfolk, zombies.
I don't know what I thought. I didn't think it was going to be the regular tribes, and they spoiled us kind of frequently enough for us to learn what they were. And the only weird one was cats, I guess, right?
Yeah, cats.
We'll gloss over them a little bit because it's all the most recent in people's minds, right?
Yeah, everybody knows all these guys.
So I guess Arabo or Arabo is the cat one, and these ones, another in the long line of things that are uninteractive. Brando hates them, and I want to keep the episode kind of feel good.
Yeah.
So I think that it's really Wizards of the Coast reaching out to say, hey, look at this is what makes Commander unique. We're gonna start developing this new design space called the Command Zone. Like do you remember the feeling that you got the first time you ever read Pull from Eternity or Rift Sweeper, where it says you can take something out of exile and put it back into your hand or graveyard? The first time you read one of the Wishes Odyssey block, take something from your sideboard, put it into your hand.
Pretty cool.
Like, what the hell? It was either really cool, or it was like, what the hell? You can't do that. That's the sideboard. Or that's exiled. You can't bring it back. That's the command zone. That's where it's supposed to stay when it dies, not when you're supposed to do something from, right? It's just new design space. And some of it, like Arabo, we argued on the show one time, and one time when we were drunk, that it was too overpowered. And in a 4-player, 40-life format, Erebos' ability isn't. But in a 2-player, 20-life format, like competitive Commander or 1v1 is now, it is very powerful. Why don't you give him a read? Eminence is the ability.
Eminence. At the beginning of combat on your turn, Erebo Roar of the Wild is in your command zone or on the battlefield. Another target cat you control gets +3/+3 until end of turn. And it has another relevant ability where if it actually is in play, whenever another cat you control attacks, you may pay 1 green/white. If you do, it gains trample and gets +X/+X, where X is its power. So now that 2/2 for 1 cat that you played becomes a 5/5, which becomes a 10/10 trampler.
Yes, that's very good.
Yeah.
Especially in a 20-life format 1v1.
Yeah.
Essentially, you're giving your cat double strike.
Yeah, and it's a 2/2.
Then you just cast Berserk on it after that for 20, they're dead.
Yeah. Every single one of your creatures will do 10 damage for 3 mana every turn, provided it doesn't get removed.
That's really good.
That's very, very good. So that's Erebo.
And he's a 5/5 for 5. Green, white, 3.
Yep.
So that's good. The Eminence thing was something they printed on the leaders of each of the decks.
Yeah, on the leaders of each tribe, I guess. And they gave you 2
auxiliary guys,
both of which did something different and were very cool, I thought.
I liked all of the auxiliary guys in the Commander decks, like every single one of them.
Yes. Here's another one. The next one is Edgar Markov. He's the one that makes a vampire whenever you play a dude. So
whether he's in play or your command zone.
Yep. Next was Inala, Archmage Ritualist. That's a fairly strong one. In Grixis, whenever a non-token wizard enters the battlefield under your control,
you can pay 1 and get another wizard.
Yes, it's pretty good.
And then they all have relevant other abilities as well. But the Eminence one is, or the Eminence mechanic in general, is what me and Brando's beef was.
Yes.
And each tribe had one. The dragon one arguably is, I think, as far as Commander is concerned, the strongest because it gives you the highest top end. And in a 4, 5, 6-player Commander game, the top end of your curve and the top end of your game or how your deck plays, I think, is the most important thing.
And it also takes dragons from being overcosted to being correctly costed for actually playing them.
Yes.
But it doesn't make them any less strong when you do play them.
Yes. It doesn't say that they cost 1 less and get -1 or 2.
It takes your 6/6 flying trample for 6 and turns it into a 6/6 flying trample for 5.
Very good. And we, of course, are talking about the Ur-Dragon. We're going to give him a read here.
The Ur-Dragon is a 10/10 for 9 Eminence. As long as it's in play or in the command zone, dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. It has flying, and whenever 1 or more dragons you control attacks, draw that many cards, then you may put a permanent card from your hand into play. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's so powerful. It costs 9, 5 of which are Wooburg.
F that. Costs 8 because it makes itself cheaper because it's a dragon.
Other dragons.
Oh, okay.
Other dragons. It costs 9. It costs 9. Whew!
Oh.
If it costed 8, it would have won the game. Of note on the Ur-Dragon, I've heard it mentioned on another podcast in the past. Lots of things have scale birds or bats or trees. The Ur-Dragon has scaled dragons to make him look that much bigger.
Yes.
And I love that he costs 9. I have this deck in my personal deck box as well. I love that he costs 9 because he's so hard to cast. He just sits perched on your little command zone perch, and he just orders every other big, badass dragon to go do everything for him.
To go beat wholesale ass.
They beat like Costco levels of wholesale ass. The deck is very powerful when you just do a couple tweaks and tunes on it.
It's got some very cool stuff in it. Who else was there? There was one more. It has the most of all of the...
Oh, you're talking about like the other Eminence guy?
What was the other Eminence guy?
Oh, yeah, we got them all.
Yeah, there was only 4 decks this year. I forgot.
Yeah, that's the first year, 2017, they did 4 decks.
Yes.
They still charged us the same amount of money because each deck was worth more money.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Goddamn sons of bitches. Which actually leads me into something that I wanted to mention. Before we do that, who do we have that plays anything out of... You have dragons. I'm actually building cats. I asked my parents for any Commander deck for Christmas, and they bought me cats.
I think that's so funny and ironic that you got cats.
Yeah, so now I have to build freaking cats. But I'm going to do it. It's going to be awesome.
I think Evan has cats. I think Geoff built Maresil the Pretender. JJ has Edgar Markov, completely stock.
Yeah, and it's not too bad. It holds its own sometimes.
Yeah, they're very good. They're tuned.
Yeah, they're solid decks, which again leads into this. When Commander first started getting printed and the cards started getting more expensive, I'm looking at things like Mana Reflection, which previously were like, if you can imagine this, like $2 or $3 cards.
Yeah.
Mana Reflection used to be a cheap ass card. Doubling Season used to be $20 instead of $60. Bloom Tender used to be $1. There were so many cards that cost nothing, and all of a sudden, all these janky binder rares start becoming worth all this money. And I was kind of like, stay out of my format, Wizards. Stay out of this. And the more stuff got printed, the more stuff that wasn't getting reprinted became worth. And while I'm still a little cheesed that they're not reprinting any of those things, like, why can't they just reprint Mana Reflection? Just do that. I won't be mad. Everybody who has them paid $5 for them, I think. At least in my mind they did.
Maybe.
That's what I paid for all of mine.
Well, nobody ever gets rid of them, so...
Yeah, like, it's not a card that you'd ever trade away.
Because nobody ever wants to spend $20 on a Mana Reflection.
Yeah, they're fun casual cards. But anyway, in spite of all of that, and you look at the value of especially this year's decks, where you're paying $40 for a deck, but you're getting about $100 worth of cards on average.
Yeah.
As far as the actual monetary
breakdown
value.
If you were going to build the exact same deck.
Yeah, like if you really wanted to build that stock list, and you're getting some cards you're not going to get anywhere else. I want to say, this is just my opinion, Commander is the best supported format in Magic.
You think so?
I think so. Because every year you get that one product, so it's not oversaturated. Here's what it is. Here's a bunch of relevant reprints. Here's some really powerful new stuff that you guys can play around with. It's not super limited. You can always go out and buy it. You can buy it at Walmart. You can buy it at your local game store. You can buy them online. You can buy them wherever you want them. You go out.
You can now. That's only a thing since 2017.
Yeah, but you spend what? $150, $200. You get $400 or $500 worth of cards. You have all of the new cards, a ton of reprints that you really need.
Yeah, that's
and maybe
true.
some other stuff that you're going to play with eventually. And there's no cracking random packs hoping that you get that one EDH card.
There's no rotation.
Yeah, it's not rotating out.
When you talk about format support, I mean, it's standard. Of course that's what it is, because they get 1,000 new cards every year. But they rotate. Prices fluctuate. If that matters to you, it doesn't really matter to us anymore because our collection is stout enough. We could never buy a card in all of 2018 and still brew decks.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I probably won't until, dinosaurs are coming out in more.
Dinosaurs are
I have
coming
to
out.
I have to support that Grimlock list.
Just hold on a second. I want to go, because you were starting to lead into the next little bit that I wanted to say now that we've covered kind of our likes or the greatest hits as far as new commanders went in the Commander products. Pros and cons. You had touched on one of the cons in that it was your format that Wizards kind of invaded.
Yeah.
I had touched on that when I was talking about them overstepping their boundaries in 2013 and then dialing it back. Stuff specifically too much for us. Stuff that made us gravitate to playing the game a certain way.
Black-White Lifelink.
Black-White Lifelink, perfect example. Do you think that kind of stuff would have happened if Commander was a format in 1997? Like, what I mean specifically is there's no social media. There was, by and large, no real internet site other than, the Duel List or Inquest magazine. There was no EDHREC.com to tell us how much far and away Atraxa is more popular than anything else. Do you think that would have been a thing?
I don't think so.
You don't think? Would you have built Atraxa? Oh, put you on the spot.
Ooh. Would I have built
He gave me the look like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, like, would I have built Atraxa over any of the other four? I would have, if I could have picked from the 5 at the time, I would have bit Yidris.
Yidris?
I would have built Yidris before I built any of those other four, because he's doing stuff that I want to do.
That's right. And you were going to build the original, like the vintage Vidris list, let's say. Not the vintage format, that's the wrong word. The Yidris list that everyone was talking about.
Yeah, we just play bomby shit into other bomby
shit into extra attack steps, Yidris. That was the original way people started talking about
that's what I
Yidris
wanted.
when he got spoiled.
Yeah, when I was going to build him, that's what I wanted. I just couldn't find one. I couldn't find him anywhere.
Yeah, because he wasn't from Commander 2017.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, other thing, expensive cards into decks. We didn't go into the reprints that weren't Commanders. We just went into the new Commanders that came out because those, more than anything else, really shaped the format.
Yeah.
Right? When you talk about Eminence and Experience Counters and Planeswalker Commanders, that's what shapes the format more so than, there's
Hannah Ship's Navigator.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't print, Chaos Warp this year, right? Like, that doesn't shape the format. Chaos Warp in 2011 didn't really shape the format that much.
Song of the Dryads did.
When you put something like Song of the Dryads, which sees play in Legacy, or
True Name Nemesis
was the exact one that made the one deck, $30 more than the other ones. Is that a problem? Or more specifically, if they put 4 decks out again next year and one of them has a mana vault and one of them has a mana drain, one of them has a mana crypt, and the other one doesn't have anything. It's like, okay, one deck's worth $30, one's worth 50, one's worth 80, one's worth 100. Does that matter?
I think so. Because this year, all of the lists were super comparable, I think. There weren't any that were bought. I mean, the Dragon one obviously was one that everybody bought.
Yeah.
But they weren't actually worth more than any of the other ones.
Exactly. When you look at price comparisons on like Tapped Out or MTG Goldfish or deck stats.
They're worth about the same. The Dragon one was just more popular, which is fine.
Yeah.
And in my other life, I collect Transformers. And
You're wearing a Transformer shirt.
Yes, I am. We have a thing called peg warmers. And usually Bumblebee is your typical peg warmer because when you buy a box of them, you're going to get one of this guy, one of this guy, one of this guy, one of this guy, 3 Bumblebees. Oh. So when you go to the store, like a Walmart, you're going to see the cat deck, the wizard deck, no dragons, no vampires.
Yeah.
And those other ones are just going to warm that shelf forever. When you went to buy 24 colors, 4-color year,
yeah,
there was no Yidris, no Atraxa. You get the other 3 all day long.
Yeah.
You could probably still get them if you went way at the back of the shelf at your local Walmart. You could probably still find the
those
crappy
ones
guy.
Are getting hard to find. That's why they come out with things like Commander Anthology now, though.
Yeah,
Plane Chase Anthology.
So when they come out with stuff like True Name Nemesis in a deck that's a legacy, and there's no way they didn't know that was a legacy card because they made it a Merfolk. They knew that was going to do that.
Yeah.
To push people to buy the product. I'm glad they're not doing that anymore.
Would you prefer that, okay, back to my previous example, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Mana Drain, random other chase card that makes it worth a little bit more than MSRP. So you get a 40, a 60, an 80, and 100. Would you rather them put, the $100 chase card in all 4 decks and make all decks worth 100, or put the $10, Chaos Warp at the time in all 4 decks and make them all worth, MSRP or a little bit above and skip out on the $100 chase card?
I'd rather than put the $100 chase card in it and then insist that people sell them for MSRP.
Not the question I asked, but probably the correct answer.
Because that is what I would rather see. Because that's not Wizards not supporting a format, because they're giving us Mana Vault. It's the assholes that sell the cards to us that are jacking up the price.
Yeah. That's how they got to make money.
Because if you could get them anywhere, just sell them for $40. It didn't cost them anymore to get them. Wizards isn't wholesaling that deck for an extra $60.
Yeah, what if they were doing that, hey?
Oh, that'd be greasy.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Toy Store, this one, your cost $20. This one, $100.
Yeah.
What the hell? What kind of Christmas is this? Okay, moving to the cons. Because I want this to be a feel-good show. This is the friendship arc.
Yeah.
The good part about this is we get our own official product, our official support, our own official spoiler season.
Yep.
This drives our friends that were on the fence to play Commander. It diversifies all the stuff that we just said about building specifically for Atraxa, building specifically for experience counters. This actually diversifies our format because, there's 4 or 5 commanders we talk about in each year of release, but there was like 40 in one year. There's 40 different commanders or legendary creatures. There's 30 in another year. Even 2011 had like 30 different commanders.
Yeah.
So it's giving us lots of new cards to play with. It's giving us things like Chaos Warp, Song of the Dryads. It's diversifying our card pool, adding to the legacy card pool and True Name Nemesis. Yeah. Is that a thing?
I guess so.
What else? It's for us, I guess. That sums it up, but that's kind of a bad way to say it.
I don't think it is. This is finally a fan created thing that's actually getting supported by Wizards because they find it profitable, and by them profiting in it, so are all of we. It's not like Pauper where they'll never support Pauper ever. Because
those just banned cards for it because something got printed in a Masters set at Common and they're like, oh shit, whoops, sorry, banned.
Yeah. And that's a sweet format. I think that Pauper needs more love, but Wizards will never support it. They'll never acknowledge it ever. You got to get your local game store to do that.
It's a thing online, but they'll never have sanctioned tournaments.
Yeah.
You can play it online, but
I don't play online.
Yeah, playing online.
Yeah, I've already got Meat Hooks and Burn in real life. What the hell do I want to buy it online for?
I guess the wrap up for the listeners, this is Arc of Friendship. We're going to be talking about some of our own friends' decks, and you're going to get a little bit more insight into our play group and what makes us so good. But we want to hear from you guys as well on Twitter, email, Facebook if we end up doing that thing. Let us know about the Facebook thing. Let us know about the Commander products. What have they done for you individually, as in individual products? Did you buy one? Did you buy all? What have they done for you on the whole, your Magic playing experience, your play group, right? Maybe there's some things like the episode we did a few weeks ago about Guy having to confront his fellow player in his play group. Maybe you're having issues like that we can tackle through our own experiences in our play group.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's nothing for us to call another one of us out. We're all kind of adults now, and we're all good friends.
And we've all been in arguments, nay, throw down fights with each other over the things that bother us about us, and it's just how it goes.
Yeah, about magic even in specifically, right?
Yeah, like you, me, and Evan have had some
But Evan's always wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
And you're wrong most of the time.
I'm wrong.
And I'm always right.
I feel I'm always right. CCO Nation, who's right? Me or Ryan?
Definitely not Evan.
Not Evan, though, yeah.
CCO Nation, just agree with us that Evan is wrong.
Yeah, hashtag not Evan. F you, Evan. So to kind of summarize, there's our history of our kind of look back at officially supported Commander and how it helped create a very tight-knit group that both inspired us to be better deck builders, be better Magic players, and inspired this neat little show we got going on here. Because without all of that stuff, I bet you we wouldn't be here talking to you guys right now. And the format that we're talking about probably wouldn't exist either. So for that, for a very rare occasion, we're going to thank Wizards. We're going to thank all you guys for listening, for our buddies for playing with us, and we're going to see you on the next episode, which is the first episode of the Arc of Friendship on the next episode of Commander Cookout Podcast. Hit our theme song!